The research vessel Aurora drifted slowly across the silent edge of an unknown star system. The crew had been searching for weeks, scanning planets and moons, looking for signs of anything unusual. Most days were quiet, filled with routine reports, but this day was different. On the third moon of a gas giant, the scanners caught something strange. The surface of the moon was barren rock, but under the surface, deep inside the crust, there was a hollow structure. It was not natural. It was carved with exact lines, too perfect for random formations. Inside the command deck, Captain Ryan leaned over the glowing display. His crew gathered around. They were explorers, scientists, and engineers, but even they were silent at the sight. A perfect geometric shape pulsed faintly within the moon. It looked like a sealed chamber. "This is not nature," Ryan said, his voice calm but firm. "Something made this." The crew felt a shiver. Humanity had traveled far into the stars. They had seen ruins, ships, and traces of civilizations long gone. But this was different. This was hidden deep, as if meant to stay sealed. The landing team prepared quickly. The shuttle descended through the thin atmosphere, kicking up dust as it settled near a jagged cliff. The surface was cracked and lifeless, but the scanners guided them to a fissure leading downward. Suits were sealed, lights were switched on, and the team walked into the darkness. Inside, the tunnel was narrow, leading deep into the moon. Strange markings ran along the walls, symbols no one could read. They were carved in spirals and patterns, flowing like water frozen into stone. The air was thin but breathable, another sign that someone had shaped this place long ago. Finally, they reached it. A massive gate stood before them, taller than a house. It was smooth, metallic, and seamless. There was no handle, no crack, no visible way to open it. It was as if the gate was part of the stone itself. The scientists began scanning. The readings confused them. The metal was stronger than anything they knew, and energy pulsed inside it like a heartbeat. The gate was alive, in a way, but dormant. One of the engineers, Myra, placed her hand on the surface. It was cold, but beneath the cold was something else, a deep vibration. "It feels like it's waiting," she whispered. The others tried machines, tools, even focused energy beams. Nothing worked. The gate remained silent, sealed as it had been for who knew how many ages. The crew returned to the ship to think. Days passed, filled with attempts and failures. The alien gateway would not open. Some said it was never meant to. Others said it might be a tomb, a prison, or a treasure locked away. It was then that Aaron, the youngest member of the crew, spoke up. He was not the strongest, nor the most skilled. He was quiet, a thinker, often overlooked. But he had been studying the symbols they found on the walls. "These shapes," he said softly in the meeting hall, "they are not only decoration. They are instructions. I think the builders left a way to open the gate, but it is not a machine. It is something else." The others listened with growing interest. Aaron explained that the spirals repeated in patterns similar to human mathematical sequences. The alien markings seemed to echo ideas that humans understood: numbers, rhythm, balance. "Maybe they built it to respond not to their own kind," Aaron suggested, "but to whoever could see the pattern. Maybe that means us." The room fell silent. Could it be possible? Out of all the species across the stars, could this ancient gateway have been waiting for humans? The next day, Aaron went down into the chamber alone. The others watched from the shuttle, nervous but hopeful. He stood before the gate and placed his hand on the metal. He did not use a tool or machine. He simply began tracing the spiral shapes with his finger, humming softly to match the rhythm he had found. At first, nothing happened. Then the gate began to vibrate. A faint light spread across its surface, forming glowing lines that followed his touch. The hum grew into a deep tone, filling the chamber with sound. The crew gasped as the gate shifted for the first time in countless ages. The seamless surface split down the middle. Slowly, heavily, the sealed gateway began to open. Beyond it, darkness waited. But it was not empty darkness. There was a sense of depth, of something vast and powerful lying within. The air stirred, carrying with it the faintest whisper of voices long gone. Aaron stepped back, his heart racing. The impossible had happened. The alien gateway had opened, and it had opened only for a human. The crew stood frozen in awe. They had not just found ruins. They had awakened something. Humanity had once again done what no other species could. The gateway yawned wide, revealing the path into the unknown. And so their true journey began. The gate was now open, but the crew hesitated. A dark passage stretched beyond the threshold, leading into the heart of the moon. The faint glow of the strange symbols still pulsed along the gateway's edge, as if encouraging them to enter. Captain Ryan stood with his team at the entrance. His voice was calm, but the weight of the moment pressed on them all. We came here to discover. Whatever is inside, we face it together. The landing lights on their suits flickered on, beams cutting through the heavy darkness. Step by step, they walked past the gate and into the chamber. The air grew warmer, and the silence deepened. It was not the silence of an empty cave, but a silence that felt alive, as if listening. The walls around them changed. No longer rough stone, they were smooth and curved, made of a metal that shimmered faintly in their lights. Patterns covered every surface, spirals and lines flowing together into vast designs. Some glowed dimly, responding to their movement. Myra, the engineer, touched the wall. This is not just a structure. It feels like a machine. Aaron walked slowly, studying the patterns. His eyes caught sequences within them, shapes that reminded him of music and numbers. It is not random, he said softly. It was built with purpose. Every line has meaning. The passage opened into a massive hall. The crew stopped, awestruck. The chamber stretched higher than their lights could reach. Pillars rose like frozen rivers, twisting upward. In the center stood a vast structure that looked like both a monument and a machine. It pulsed faintly, like the heartbeat of something sleeping. At the base of the central structure lay a platform, smooth and circular. Strange symbols surrounded it, arranged in spirals. Ryan stepped forward. This must be the core of it. The scientists scanned it, but their devices gave only confused readings. The energy levels inside the structure were enormous, yet stable, like a star contained within walls. It was silent now, but every one of them felt it could awaken again at any moment. Suddenly, the walls shimmered with light. A wave of brightness ran across the chamber, forming images. The crew froze as shapes appeared, tall figures, not human, but alien. They were made of light, standing motionless around the central monument. Their faces were indistinct, their forms shifting, but they seemed to watch the humans. Myra whispered, "It's a recording." They left a message. The figures moved together, raising their arms toward the central monument. Lines of light connected them to it, and the structure pulsed brighter. The images repeated again and again, like an ancient memory etched into the walls. Aaron's eyes widened. They are showing us how to use it. But what was it? The question hung heavy. Was it a weapon? A vault? A power source? No one could yet answer. The crew debated. Some wanted to retreat and report back to the main fleet. Others believed they should continue. Ryan listened to all but made no decision yet. He knew they were standing before something older and greater than anything humans had yet found. To leave now might mean never unlocking its secret. While the others argued, Aaron stepped onto the circular platform. His heart raced, but he felt a strange pull, as if the chamber itself was calling him. The moment his foot touched the center, the room changed. The symbols along the platform glowed. The alien figures of light turned toward him. A deep hum filled the air, steady and strong. Aaron. Myra called out, panic in her voice. I am all right, Aaron said, though his voice trembled. He raised his hands, unsure of what to do. The figures raised theirs in unison, repeating the gesture from the recording. Slowly, Aaron lifted his arms the same way. Instantly, light spread from his hands to the monument. The structure pulsed brighter, the sound deepening. The floor vibrated under their feet. Then came a voice. It was not spoken, not heard through ears, but felt in their minds. A calm, ancient tone that carried meaning without words. You have come. The crew staggered. Myra clutched her helmet, eyes wide. Ryan forced himself to stand tall. You have opened what was closed. You have seen what was hidden. Few can do this. Only those who see the pattern, who hear the rhythm, may enter. The crew realized the voice was not speaking to them all. It was speaking to Aaron. The young man's chest tightened, but he held his ground. What is this place? He asked aloud, though his voice shook. The answer came with weight that pressed on all of them. This is the Ark. Within lies the memory of worlds. We sealed it, waiting for the one who could unlock it. You are that one. Aaron's hands shook as the light around him grew brighter. His crew stared, unable to move, unsure whether they were witnessing a gift or a trap. The monument pulsed one final time, then stilled. The light faded, but the silence felt even heavier now. The gate had opened. The chamber had spoken. Humanity stood at the edge of something vast. Aaron stepped down from the platform, his face pale. It chose us, he whispered. And the others knew he was right. The chamber remained still after the voice faded, yet the crew could not shake the feeling that unseen eyes were watching them. The silence was heavy, filled with questions. None of their training had prepared them for this. Captain Ryan broke the quiet. We stay calm. We study what we can, and we move carefully. This Ark is not ours to command. We must understand it before we act. The crew nodded, though unease filled their eyes. The vast monument in the center of the hall loomed like a sleeping giant, its faint heartbeat echoing through the floor. Aaron sat on the edge of the platform, his hands trembling. He replayed the words in his mind. You are that one. Why him? He was not a leader, not a genius, just someone who noticed patterns. But the Ark had spoken to him and no one else. Myra approached and placed a hand on his shoulder. You did something none of us could. Don't question it. Accept it. Maybe humanity was meant to find this place. Aaron tried to believe her words, but doubt pressed harder than pride. The team set up equipment around the hall. Lights illuminated the vast chamber, and scanners hummed as they tried to capture every detail. Yet their devices struggled. Energy waves shifted unpredictably, readings collapsed into static, and symbols refused translation. It was as if the Ark resisted being measured by human machines. Then something new happened. When Aaron walked close to the monument, his data pad lit up, though no signal touched it. Strange symbols appeared on the screen, spirals and lines, just like the carvings on the walls. Myra gasped. It is linking with you. Aaron stared at the shifting symbols. It's trying to teach me. The crew gathered as the symbols rearranged themselves. Slowly, carefully, they formed patterns closer to human numbers and letters. It was as if the Ark was reshaping its language to be understood. Hours passed. Aaron's eyes burned with focus as he traced each sequence. The Ark responded, showing clearer forms. At last, simple words appeared on his screen: memory. Worlds. Lost. The scientists exchanged looks. The Ark was a vault of knowledge, a library of civilizations that no longer existed. Ryan's voice was steady, though awe touched it. If this is true, then this place holds the history of countless species. And it opened for us. But with the discovery came unease. If such knowledge was sealed away, was it safe to open it? Or had it been hidden for a reason? That night, the crew rested in shifts near the chamber. Aaron could not sleep. The monument called to him in silence. He rose and approached it again. When he placed his hand on the smooth surface, light blossomed across the chamber. The others woke instantly, alarm sounding as the ark stirred. Images filled the air, not just figures of light but whole worlds. Planets shimmered above them, green forests, blue oceans, cities of shining towers. Then came other worlds, broken and ruined, scarred by fire and war. The crew watched in silence as history unfolded before their eyes. The voice returned, soft yet vast. These are the worlds that were. Their people are gone, but their memory remains. We sealed the ark to guard their legacy, waiting for one who could unlock it. You have awakened it, human. You carry their weight now. The crew stood frozen. They were explorers, yes, but this was greater than any mission. They were now keepers of knowledge that stretched across the stars. Myra whispered, "It's a library of the dead." Aaron's eyes fixed on the ruined worlds. He felt their silence pressing against him. "No," he said firmly. "It is not only memory. It is warning." As if answering him, the images shifted again. Battles filled the air, fleets of alien ships clashing in burning skies, weapons tearing planets apart. The crew saw destruction on a scale beyond imagining. Civilizations had risen and fallen, leaving nothing but silence. Ryan clenched his fists. They destroyed themselves. The voice grew heavier. Power without wisdom leads to ruin. They fell, one by one. We sealed their memory so the next might learn. Will you learn, human? Or will you repeat their end? The crew shivered at the question. The ark was not only a library but a test. Aaron's knees felt weak, but he stood tall. We will learn. We must. The images faded, leaving only the monument's faint glow. The chamber returned to silence, but the air carried new weight. Humanity had been chosen, but with choice came responsibility. The crew gathered in a circle. They spoke of what they had seen. Some felt hope that knowledge from the past could guide humanity into greatness. Others felt fear that the ark carried curses as much as wisdom. Finally, Ryan made his decision. We cannot turn back now. If the ark chose us, then we must carry its burden. But we must do it carefully. One step at a time. The crew agreed, though unease lingered. They had opened the gate, entered the chamber, and heard the voice of ancient memory. Now they had to decide how far they would go. Aaron stared at the silent monument, knowing it was not finished with him. The ark had given a glimpse, but much more waited within. And deep inside, hidden beyond what even the ark had shown, something stirred. The monument's faint heartbeat quickened, as if the true test was yet to come. The crew of Aurora could not rest after what they had seen. The ark had shown them the rise and fall of civilizations, and its voice had asked the question no one could escape: will you learn, or will you repeat their end? Captain Ryan called a meeting near the chamber's entrance. The flickering glow of their portable lamps barely touched the vast walls around them, but everyone's eyes were fixed on him. We have two choices, Ryan said firmly. We leave, seal the gate, and never return. Or we go forward and face whatever lies ahead. I will not order this choice. Each of you must decide. The silence was heavy. No one wanted to abandon the discovery, but fear gripped them. They had seen destroyed worlds. What if this ark was more than just memory? What if it tested those who entered? Finally, Aaron spoke. His voice was soft but steady. If the ark chose us, then it is already too late to turn back. We have been seen. If we leave without learning, we may lose the chance forever. Myra nodded in agreement. Knowledge is dangerous, yes, but so is ignorance. We came to explore. If we stop now, then why did we come at all? Slowly, one by one, the crew agreed. Ryan looked at their faces, saw their fear and their determination, and gave a single nod. Then we move forward. Together. They returned to the central hall. The monument stood tall and silent, waiting. Aaron stepped onto the circular platform once again. The symbols around it lit up, spirals glowing like stars. The deep voice returned, echoing in their minds. You accept the burden. Then you must prove it. Memory is not enough. Wisdom must be tested. The chamber shifted. The walls dissolved into light, and the crew gasped. They were no longer standing in a hall of stone and metal but on the surface of a vast alien city. Towers rose high, streets spread wide, and the air shimmered with strange colors. Myra's scanner beeped wildly. This is not real. It's a projection, or a simulation. But the wind that touched their suits felt real, and the ground beneath them shook as if alive. Whatever the Ark had done, it had brought them into a living memory. The voice spoke again. This city was the pride of its people. They rose higher than the stars. But their pride became hunger, and their hunger became war. Now their memory rests here. Learn what they forgot. The crew watched as the city changed before their eyes. Lights dimmed, towers cracked, smoke filled the sky. Shadows of people ran in fear as explosions tore through the streets. Ships clashed above, their weapons burning holes in the heavens. The horror surrounded them, so vivid it felt like they stood in the middle of the war itself. Aaron covered his face as heat swept across the street. This is their end, he whispered. But then the scene froze. The burning city stilled, the shadows stopped moving. The voice returned. They were given a choice. They failed. Now you are given the same. Before the crew appeared two paths. On one side, a massive machine tower stood, humming with energy. On the other side, a broken group of survivors huddled together, weak and afraid. The voice asked, which will you choose to save, the power, or the people? The crew looked at each other, stunned. Was this a test of morality? Of judgment? Ryan spoke first. If we choose the machine, we save technology. But if we choose the people, we save life. Which is right? Myra's eyes burned with anger. Without people, what is the point of power? Machines can be rebuilt. Lives cannot. But another scientist, Joran, shook his head. Without the machine, the people will die anyway. Technology is survival. Without it, there is no future. The argument grew louder. The Ark's test pressed heavy on them. Finally, all eyes turned to Aaron. The Ark had spoken to him before, and they felt it waited for his answer now. Aaron's voice was calm, though his heart raced. The choice is not one or the other. It is how we use both. We must protect life, but also guard knowledge. If we save people without wisdom, they may destroy themselves again. If we save only power, it will consume them. We must choose balance. The moment he spoke, the frozen scene shifted. The burning city dissolved into light. The survivors and the machine faded together, merging into a single bright pattern that spiraled across the sky. The voice returned, steady and deep. You see what they could not. Power without compassion leads to ruin. Compassion without wisdom leads to weakness. Only balance endures. You have passed the first test. The chamber reformed around them. They were back in the hall, standing before the monument. The glow dimmed, leaving silence. The crew breathed heavily, shaken. Sweat lined their faces, though no battle had been real. Still, the fear and weight of the choice clung to them. Ryan placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. You found the path. Without you, We might have failed. Aaron shook his head. It was not me alone. We all saw it. The Ark wants us to learn together. But in his heart, he felt the pressure growing. The Ark had chosen him as its voice, and he knew this was only the beginning. If this was the first test, then others were waiting tests greater and harder than they could imagine. Far above, unseen beyond the chamber walls, the gas giant loomed in silence. And within the Ark, something deeper stirred, as if the ancient builders were watching closely. The crew stood silently after the first test ended. Their hearts were heavy, their breaths uneven. The Ark had not harmed them, yet the weight of its lesson pressed on their souls. They had seen the fall of a proud world and faced a choice that mirrored the weakness of its people. Captain Ryan looked around the chamber. His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed caution. That was only the beginning. The Ark is not finished with us. We must be ready for whatever comes next. Myra clenched her fists. If these are only memories, why do they feel so real? It was as if we truly stood in that burning city. Aaron, pale but thoughtful, answered softly. Because the Ark wants us to feel what others felt. Knowledge is not enough. To learn, we must experience. Only then can we understand. The others fell silent. They knew he was right. The monument pulsed again. Its deep glow spread across the floor, symbols lighting up one after another until the chamber was filled with spirals of shining lines. The voice returned, louder now, carrying a tone of judgment. You passed the first test. But wisdom alone is not enough. Power and compassion mean nothing if you stand divided. Now you must face the trial of unity. The crew barely had time to react before the chamber dissolved once more. Light swept across their vision, and the floor beneath them vanished. When the light faded, they found themselves standing on a vast bridge of stone, suspended over an endless abyss. The air roared with wind, and the bridge shook under their feet. Joran gasped. This cannot be real. But the heat of the wind and the tremor of the stone felt far too real to deny. The voice echoed again. To reach the other side, you must cross together. If one falls, all will fall. If one betrays the others, none will survive. Only unity will carry you forward. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The bridge stretched farther than they could see, vanishing into mist. The abyss below called with silence that promised no return. Ryan stepped forward. We move together. No one runs ahead, no one is left behind. They began to walk. Each step was careful, steady. The bridge was wide enough for two people side by side, but the cracks in the stone grew larger as they advanced. The wind howled. At one point, a violent gust nearly threw Myra off the side. Aaron grabbed her arm just in time, pulling her back. Her breath shook. Thank you, she whispered. But the Ark was not finished. The bridge split ahead into three paths, each narrow and dangerous. The crew froze. Which way? Joran asked. Ryan frowned. We cannot divide. The Ark said unity. Yet the paths stretched in different directions, each leading into the mist. They had no map, no clue. Confusion filled their minds. Myra's eyes fell on the glowing spirals etched into the stone. Wait. These are patterns. They are guiding us. Aaron studied them carefully. The spirals matched the same rhythm he had traced on the first gate. His chest tightened with recognition. The center path. That is the one that keeps the sequence whole. They followed his lead, stepping onto the middle bridge. The stone rumbled beneath their feet, but it held. For a time, they walked in silence. The abyss below stretched forever, endless darkness broken only by the faint glow of shifting lights. Then the Ark struck again. The bridge shook violently, splitting open in front of them. A wide gap yawned, impossible to cross by walking. Myra's voice trembled. We cannot jump this. Ryan looked at his crew. We make a chain. If we work together, we can pull each other across. Fear gripped them, but they obeyed. Ryan was first. He leapt, barely catching the far edge with his hands. Myra and Aaron grabbed his arms, straining with all their strength. With a heave, they pulled him over. One by one, the others crossed. Aaron was the last. His leap fell short, and his hand slipped against the rough stone. For a moment, he dangled above the abyss, the wind tearing at his body. Aaron! Myra cried, reaching out. The others grabbed hold, forming a chain of arms. Together, they pulled with every ounce of strength. Aaron scrambled upward, his breath ragged, until at last he rolled onto the solid stone. The crew collapsed in exhaustion, their hearts racing. The voice returned, calm but powerful. You held each other when the abyss called. You trusted when doubt whispered. You chose unity, and so you endured. Many before you failed, turning against one another. You did not. Humanity passes the trial of unity. The bridge dissolved into light. The crew blinked, and they were back in the chamber once more. The monument pulsed softly, its glow steady, like the heartbeat of something alive. They sat in silence for a long time. None spoke, but all understood what had happened. The Ark was not only showing them the past. It was shaping them, forcing them to face the same choices that had destroyed others. At last, Ryan stood. His voice was firm. We survived because we trusted one another. If we lose that, we lose everything. Remember this. The others nodded. Aaron, still catching his breath, stared at the monument. He felt its presence pressing against his mind, stronger than before. The Ark had not finished with them. It was leading them deeper, step by step, into trials meant not to destroy but to reveal who they truly were. And somewhere in the depths of the structure, beyond walls of stone and metal, something stirred awake. The Ark was not only memory. It was guardian, judge, and teacher. The real test was still to come. The crew of Aurora stood once more in the vast chamber, their suits dim under the faint glow of the Ark's monument. They had passed the trial of unity, but the victory felt heavy. The images of the abyss and the fragile stone bridge remained sharp in their minds. No one spoke at first. They only breathed, waiting. They all knew another trial was coming. Captain Ryan broke the silence. The Ark is watching us. Every test has meaning. First wisdom, then unity. Whatever comes next will cut even deeper. His words proved true. The monument pulsed, brighter than before. Symbols flared across the walls, spinning in spirals that filled the chamber with shifting light. The voice returned, deeper, heavier than ever. You have shown wisdom. You have held unity. But no path endures without sacrifice. To protect life, one must be willing to give their own. Now face the trial of sacrifice. Light swept across the chamber. The crew staggered as the floor vanished. When their vision cleared, they found themselves standing inside a towering structure of glass and steel. Through the walls, a planet below burned. Flames swept across continents, cities crumbled, and great waves swallowed the coastlines. The ground shook as if the world itself cried out in pain. Myra pressed her hand to the glass. It's dying. The whole world is dying. Alarms rang in the distance. Machines hummed. In the center of the hall stood a massive control panel, glowing with symbols. Next to it, a warning pulsed in sharp red light. The voice spoke again. This world can be saved, but not without cost. To activate the shield, one must remain behind. One must give their life so that millions may live. The crew froze. The test was clear. The Ark demanded a choice. Joran shook his head fiercely. This is wrong. It's only a simulation. None of this is real. But Aaron looked into the burning skies and felt the heat press against him. Real or not, the Ark is watching how we respond. If we refuse, we fail. Ryan clenched his fists. His duty as captain weighed heavy. I should stay. My life for the crew, for the people below. That is the burden of command. Myra stepped forward at once. No. You are our leader. We need you. If someone must remain, it should be me. I know the systems better. I can hold it together long enough. The others protested, voices rising, fear and anger mixing. No one wanted to see another left behind. But Aaron stood silent. His heart pounded as he stared at the glowing panel. He knew the Ark was watching him most of all. It had chosen him from the beginning. Every test had pushed him forward. And now the trial of sacrifice had arrived. He stepped forward. It must be me. The others turned to him in shock. Ryan's voice was hard. No, Aaron. You are the one the Ark speaks to. If anyone has to survive, it's you. Aaron's voice trembled, but his eyes were steady. Maybe that is why it must be me. If the Ark wants to see if we can give everything for others, then I have to prove it. This is the lesson, and we cannot avoid it. Myra grabbed his arm, desperation in her eyes. You'll die. You can't. He placed his hand over hers. If it saves them, then it is worth it. He walked to the panel. His hands hovered over the glowing symbols. The fire outside roared louder, as if time itself was running out. Then, in the silence of their fear, the crew did something unexpected. Ryan stepped to Aaron's side. If you stay, I stay. Myra followed. Then I stay too. One by one, the others moved to stand with him. No one spoke of fear anymore. They only stood together, facing the cost as one. The Ark's voice returned, filling the hall like thunder. You choose not one sacrifice, but all. You choose to bear the burden together. This is the heart of sacrifice, not the death of one, but the will of many to give themselves for others. The burning planet outside faded. The glass walls dissolved. The control panel vanished. They were back in the chamber. The monument glowed with a deep golden light, brighter than ever before. The voice continued. Others before you chose selfishly. They demanded others give what they would not. But you stood together. You showed not only the will to give, but the strength to share the burden. Humanity has passed the trial of sacrifice. The glow slowly faded. The chamber fell silent again. The crew stood in awe. Relief filled them, but also exhaustion. Every test cut deeper than the last. Yet each one revealed something about themselves they had not seen before. Ryan looked around at his team, his voice quiet but proud. We faced it as one. That is why we endure. Aaron's eyes lingered on the monument. Its glow pulsed like a heart, steady and strong. He could feel it pressing against his mind again, a silent weight of expectation. The Ark was not finished. Each test was shaping them, leading them closer to something final, something greater. And deep within its walls, hidden behind layers of stone and metal, the true core of the Ark stirred. The final trial was waiting. The crew stood before the monument once more. Its glow had softened, gentle now, like a heartbeat finally at rest. They had faced the trial of wisdom, the trial of unity, and the trial of sacrifice. Each test had pushed them to the limits of courage, trust, and understanding. Now, silence hung over the chamber like a question waiting to be answered. Captain Ryan finally spoke. We have done what we could. If the Ark has more to show, then we face it together, as we always have. Aaron stepped forward. His hands hovered over the smooth surface of the monument. The symbols pulsed softly, responding to his presence. He took a deep breath. I feel it, it's showing me something different now. Something beyond the tests. The deep voice returned, calm and vast, filling their minds with clarity. You have proven yourselves. Not by strength, not by fear, not by cleverness alone. You have proven by heart, by courage, by unity. You have learned the ways others could not. Humanity has shown it can endure what others failed. A golden light spread across the chamber. The walls dissolved into transparent layers, revealing visions of countless worlds. Some were thriving, full of life and peace. Others were empty, silent, destroyed by war or ignorance. But now, there were threads connecting them, lines of light, moving from world to world, linking civilizations in patterns of knowledge and memory. These are the paths of life, knowledge, and survival. Many civilizations rose, many fell. But you humans have proven you can carry the lessons forward. Myra's eyes widened. It's showing us, all of them. The survivors, the lost, their history, everything. Aaron nodded, feeling the weight of it. The Ark is not just a test. It's a guide. It holds the memory of the universe, waiting for one who can understand it. The voice continued, more gently now. You are chosen not to wield power alone, but to protect what is precious. To guide, to teach, to endure. The trials were not for survival only, they were for growth. You have grown beyond yourselves. Ryan stepped closer, his hand brushing the glowing surface. Then this is a gift. A responsibility. Yes, the voice replied. The gift of knowledge, the gift of understanding, the gift of hope. Carry it well. Protect it. Share it wisely. Humans can change the path of life across the stars. You are the bearers of memory, the guardians of what has been lost and what can be saved. The chamber began to shift. The monument's glow spread throughout the hall, washing over the crew. Their minds were filled with visions of alien cities, of distant planets, of the triumphs and failures of countless species. But the fear of destruction was tempered by hope. The knowledge of past mistakes gave them power not to dominate, but to prevent the fall of others. Myra's voice was soft. We can do this. We can learn from them and guide others. Aaron looked at his crew, seeing determination in their eyes. It's not just knowledge. It's responsibility. The Ark trusted us to carry it forward. We cannot fail. The monument pulsed one last time, its light flowing into the crew, as if embedding a part of itself in them. They felt it in their hearts, their minds, their very souls, a deep connection to every world that had existed, every life that had been lost, and every future yet to be shaped. The golden light faded. The chamber returned to its quiet, steady glow. The gate outside remained open, the path back to the shuttle clear. Ryan finally spoke. We leave this place, but we take its lessons with us. Humanity is not alone in the universe, and now we carry the memory of all who came before. We will protect it. We will use it to guide the future. The crew nodded, each understanding the weight of the promise they had just accepted. Aaron lingered a moment longer, placing his hand on the monument. Thank you, he whispered, not just for himself, but for all of them. The Ark had chosen wisely, and humans had risen to meet its expectation. As they returned to the shuttle, the moon's surface seemed less barren than before. The world held possibilities, mysteries waiting to be discovered, and humanity had been entrusted with the knowledge to navigate them wisely. The stars beyond shone brighter now, not as distant points, but as paths filled with history, memory, and hope. The Ark had opened for them, and humanity had proven itself worthy. And somewhere deep inside the ancient structure, the monument pulsed once more. Not in judgment, not in challenge, but in quiet trust. Humanity had passed the trials, and the universe had found in them a new guardian. The crew of Aurora looked out at the endless sky, knowing their journey had only just begun. They carried the Ark's gift, a treasure far beyond wealth or power. It was knowledge, responsibility, and hope. And with it, humanity could rise higher than any species before, shaping the future with courage, wisdom, and unity. The Ark waited silently, ready for the next generation, confident that humanity could endure and guide the stars.